I'm Dr. Sunaina Hamid. I'm a consultant dermatologist based in Bangalore, Whitefield. I completed my MBBS from JJ Medical College, Davangere, and after that, I did my MD from KMC Manipal. Subsequently, I also got my diplomate from the American Board of Laser Surgery. I'm the first diplomate from India. In my clinic, we deal with most of the cases I deal with are clinical dermatology, and we also do a good deal of cosmetic dermatology. So we have a huge variety of lasers for hair removal, for scars, for skin tightening, for phototherapy. I also do a good deal of Botox and fillers, and I've been in practice post MD. I've been practicing since 2008. So this is my 11th or 12th year in practice now. So I'm going ahead. I'll be waiting for your comments and queries and questions so we can start with the session. Okay. Okay, so while we're waiting in for the queries to come in, I'll just speak about what are the general questions we usually get on a day-to-day basis. So most people, I think, who come to me, they have minor issues. The three most common problems we see in our practice is either acne or pigmentation issues or hair-related issues. So the general queries start with, how should I take care of my skin and how can I know what is my skin type? So with skin type, actually the 14 different types, skin types. So it's either categorized as you have normal dry or oily skin, or whether you have a pigmented or non-pigmented skin, whether you have a sensitive or resistant skin, or whether you have a tight or wrinkled skin. So within that permutation and combination, we have about 16 different skin types. For instance, if you have a DPRT skin type, that means you have dry, pigmented, resistant, not sensitive, and tight skin type. So we see a lot of this particular skin type in Bangalore because the air in Bangalore is really dry. So summer or winter, there's no humidity in the air, and people who have just moved to Bangalore from other cities, for instance, from Chennai or Kolkata, they have a lot more of dryness issues because they're suddenly not used to the environment there. So a lot of the basic skincare ultimately comes down to a face wash, a sunscreen, and a moisturizer. Toners don't do all that much for skin. It just ends up irritating your tingling your skin. It doesn't even really help to actually reduce your open pores. And the other question we get is scrubs. How useful are scrubs? So scrubs, most people, most skin types, I feel you should only use it once or twice a week. So the very basics, if you want to start with something, would be a good face wash, a sunscreen, and a moisturizer. So sunscreens also, for instance, there's a huge variety of sunscreens in pharmacies, and I would always recommend that you get a pharmaceutical sunscreen rather than a cosmetic sunscreen like a L'Oreal or a Neutrogena or something like that. So with sunscreens, actually, it depends on your skin type, whether you have dry skin, whether you have oily skin, whether you have acne prone skin, whether you have a pigmentation issue, and there's sunscreens for that. Under the age of 2, don't use any sunscreens for children that young. Actually, just protect them from the sun. From the age of 2 to 12, you need to use a pediatric sunscreen, and after the age of 12, then you can use your regular sunscreen. So I have a query from a patient who says, I have dry skin. What care should I take in summer? So this is pretty much what I was going through. So even with dry skin, you still need to use a sunscreen. And there are sunscreens. There's an Ansolar SPF 60. There's a Aveeno sunscreen. There's a Sebamed SPF 30 sunscreen. They all have a bit of a moisturizing base that will hydrate your skin. Because the reason being that dry skin will actually sunburn and tan faster compared to people with really resistant skin or normal skin. And then there's moisturizers as well. So with dryness, again, select a moisturizer that is paraben free, that is fragrance free, that is tested for Indian skin, that says that this is hypoallergenic or non-comedogenic, doesn't cause acne. So good examples would be the Sebamed moisturizing cream for dry skin. There's a Cetaphil Dam lotion which works very well. Aveeno moisturizers work very well. There are different combinations that you can find. But a lot of the moisturizers which patients want, they want something that smells rosy, that smells good. As a dermatologist, we generally recommend people use moisturizers that don't have any fragrances. Fragrances in the long term can actually end up tanning your skin. So now Ramesh is asking that he's suffering from hair fall issues and how to resolve them. Okay, hair fall is a very broad area. Now, this is a male patient asking for a query, so I'll stick to male pattern hair fall. There are two kinds of hair fall you could be suffering from. One is telogen effluvium. This is the hair fall that happens after you've had an illness or a surgery or blood loss or after a period of extreme mental or physical stress. If you're a pure vegetarian, if you've been dieting, if you're underweight, these kind of hair falls, the first thing is to improve your nutrition levels. Get enough protein, get enough iron. If you're a vegetarian, you have to have green leafy vegetables in some form every day. You have to get in a lot of pomegranate and beetroot juice, add a tomato in it to get some vitamin C as well. And you'll also, if despite improving your nutrition and cutting down on the stress levels, if the hair fall is not getting better, you have to meet a dermatologist. We prescribe biotin and other microminerals. These microminerals, it's very hard to get enough of it from your diet alone. So supplements can help. And there are plenty of medications you can apply to your scalp to control the hair fall. In severe cases where suppose all the blood tests are fine, the multivitamins and the hair fall medications that you apply to your scalp, if that's not helping, there are procedures we can do like PRP treatment. If you're suffering from a balding issue, now balding is generally hereditary, and what people feel is that there's not a lot of shedding. I don't lose a lot of hair all over the place, but definitely compared to old photos, and my hair is getting thinner and thinner over the years. I can see it in photographs. My hairline is going behind. In those kind of cases, you need minoxidil. Minoxidil is the gold standard. It's just simple drops that you apply to your scalp twice a day that can actually stop the hair fall, restore a little density, and significantly slow down the process of balding. But it has to be used for a lifetime. Now, Ansari Amar has a question. She has been to Goa and my skin is now having some uneven skin. And what can you do with instant results? Instant results depends on what you mean by instant, because you don't really see results very quickly. If there's a deadline, if you're in a job that requires you to look really good, or if you're getting married, the fastest way to fix your tan is to meet a dermatologist and get some chemical peels done. Sunscreen is a must. You probably didn't use a sunscreen or used the wrong kind of a sunscreen, maybe a cosmetic sunscreen, or maybe you didn't use a water resistant sunscreen because in Goa you would have been sweating a lot, maybe you were in the water. Start with a sunscreen. Home remedies may not work if you're looking for quick results. You need to meet a dermatologist. There's plenty of skin lightening serums that contain vitamin C, glycolic acids. They're not chemicals per se. They're basically from herbal extracts only, which can help in improving your skin. For quick results, serums would work better than a cream. And a chemical peel can help in quickly getting rid of the tan. It's a simple process. It feels almost like you're getting a facial done, but it's not a facial, it's a medical treatment. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to get it done. You have to avoid the sun for the next couple of days, and you may feel a little dryness and peeling for 2 or 3 days after a peel, and then your skin looks exfoliated and fresh again. So with chemical peels, I mean, there's a lot of misconception. People think it's either, the word itself is a misnomer. It's neither a chemical nor do you actually see excessive peeling or shedding off of the skin. So people have been doing chemical peels for centuries now, in some way or the other. You would have heard of your grandmother saying, just put some lemon on the face, or just crush some pineapple and tomatoes and put that on your face. Even in Europe, older times, people used to, the grapes that they used to crush with their feet, at the end of it, the dead red grapes which are there, it contains something called tartaric acid. And people used to take that and scrub it on their face and their arms, because they're all a rudimentary form of a chemical peel. So basically, these fruits and these herbal extracts, they have certain enzymes, and these enzymes can help in exfoliating your skin, in refreshing your skin, to detan your skin. So we take the same concept and we are standardizing it, so you get consistent results each time. So it's not really a chemical, nor do you see shedding of your skin, but you will see a little dryness and exfoliation. If you're doing regular chemical peels, you will not need a facial, you will not need any toner, you will not need any scrub at all. And the results are long lasting compared to getting a facial at a salon, which gives you a brightness for a few days, but it's not really lasting results. Um, So going back to Ramesh's query on hair fall, again, probably I would suggest you meet a dermatologist to assess whether you have telogen effluvium or you're having the early stages of balding. So if you are in the early stages of balding, sooner you address the problem, you'll have better results. So we see a lot of patients who come in after they've lost a good amount of hair. At that point, medical treatment may not work at all. At that point, we're directly talking about hair transplantation or something like that. So with balding, like I said, 80% of the cases are hereditary, and many other things can speeden it up. Generally, generation to generation, the balding starts several years earlier. So if your father started balding in his mid 30s, you may start seeing signs of balding in your late 20s itself. So what happens here is the sides of your hair and the back of your scalp still has good density, but you notice that the hairline is going behind and the top is starting to lose density. That's what we call patterned balding. There's a pattern too where you're losing your hair where you're losing your hair. So minoxidil is a medication that we apply onto the scalp. It comes in 2%, 5%, and 10%. So for men, we generally start with 5%. And if you combine minoxidil with hormones, you get even better results, even faster results. So it generally takes about 1.5 months for the hair fall to come under control. And it could take 6 months or so for other people to notice that your hair is getting thicker. So one question a lot of people ask is, so if I use minoxidil, is that a guarantee I'll never go bald? Actually, no, balding is inevitable. We can't, it's in your genes, age, hormones. We can't control your genes. We can't stop you from aging. We can't control your hormones. When minoxidil buys you a lot of time. Without treatment, suppose if you were supposed to go completely bald in this area by 35 or 40, with minoxidil, you can delay that for another 10 to 15 years. And after that, if you still want to have a good head of hair, you'll probably have to consider a hair transplantation or something like that. So that's hair, and then we talked about skincare. The third very frequent query we get is on pigmentation. So pigmentation is so common in India, North India or South India or any Indian, any face above the age of, I would say, 25. You'll see some form of pigmentation in almost every face that I see. It could be something as simple as under-eye dark circles or uneven skin tone. That is, the forehead looks a little darker, around the mouth it's a little darker, the lip corners are dark, rest of the face is looking a little lighter. So that looks very odd. People say, I don't mind a tan if I'm tanned evenly, but uneven skin tone, that makes me look even more unattractive. Some people have freckles, and some people actually have serious pigmentation diseases that requires a little more time and effort from their side and from the doctor's side as well. So if pigmentation runs in your family, serious pigmentation, if it runs in your family, you should start using a sunscreen quite young. I would say start in your teens itself. And in the long run, a good sunscreen, a good pharmaceutical, broad spectrum, high SPF sunscreen is one of the cheapest and best anti-aging creams as well. You may not appreciate it when you're in your teens or in your early 20s, but by the time you reach in your late 30s, and if you compare your skin to skin of your friends or relatives who have never used a sunscreen, then you'll start realizing it, that over the years the use of sunscreen has really paid dividends now. So that is a must, and this is something whether you have fair skin or dark skin, whether irrespective of how much time you're actually spending out in the sun, you still need to use a sunscreen. So how to select a sunscreen? So I was starting to speak on that. So like I said, there are sunscreens which contain silicone polymers. These are completely matte finish, almost as a powder finish. And I practice in South India, so most of my patients, they prefer this kind of a sunscreen, something that doesn't make the skin look white and sticky, something that doesn't make them sweat more, because these are the common complaints we get with sunscreen. I don't like to use a sunscreen because it makes my skin too oily, it makes me sweat, it makes me feel heavy, it causes acne. So matte finish sunscreens, there are sunscreens meant for acne prone skin, that helps a lot. Then there's certain sunscreens for older skin that have antioxidants in it. They may have a coenzyme Q10, they may have vitamin C, vitamin E. So the added antioxidants means you have a sunscreen that also has an anti-aging benefit. Then for pigmentation issues, there are sunscreens that have skin lightening agents as well. So they may have a mild skin lightening cream like a vitamin C or a licorice or something like that. So along with protecting your skin from the sun, they also help in lightening your skin. So then there are water resistant sunscreens for the sports people, for people who sweat a lot, for people who are swimming. Ideally, you need to use a water resistant sunscreen. So one query I get a lot is that I did use a sunscreen and I still tanned. I used a good sunscreen, so why does it happen? Why do I tan? So there are a few things here that could have happened. One is either you didn't use the right kind of a sunscreen. So maybe it's just a cosmetic sunscreen, like a Fair and Lovely or a Biotic or something like that. That could be one reason. Second thing is people don't realize that the sunscreen effect goes off in about 3 or 4 hours. So if you've used a sunscreen at 9 in the morning, but if you're still out in the sun at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, the effect of your sunscreen is over. You have to ideally either reapply or stay out of the sun or use a wide brimmed hat or anything that gives you protection. The third thing is you didn't use enough of it. So sunscreen has to be used generously. If you use too little of it, you don't get enough of protection. And the fourth thing is the water resistant sunscreen. So if you were in Goa, like Ansari Amar said, you may have been sweating a lot. If it was not a water resistant sunscreen, the effect of the sunscreen is over in 1 hour. The fifth thing is it also depends on how much sun you're getting. So using a sunscreen doesn't mean you will never get any tanning. It just protects you from an actual sunburn. Some amount of tanning can also happen. So now I have a query from Paras, who says that most of the soaps I have tried do not suit my skin. Could you suggest me a good soap? Paras, since I've never seen your skin or examined your skin, little difficult to answer that question. But if I'm guessing, if you're saying does not suit my skin, it's probably you mean it irritates my skin, it leads to dryness, maybe some rashes or itching. You can use something like if you have a dryness issue, like a Cetaphil bar soap, or you can use if you want something that you can get easily in a in a beauty shop or a supermarket. Even the basic Dove soap is fairly good. You can also try, if soaps don't suit your skin at all, you can even try liquid body washes. So Sebamed has a very good olive face and body wash that's good for people with sensitive skin, with dry skin. From babies to elderly people, it suits almost everyone. So that's a good option for you. Now, Venki asks for a good dandruff shampoo. Now, Venkatesh, please try to assess whether your dandruff is with itching or whether it's just flaking without itching. Do you also have a problem with little pimples or boils on your scalp, or do you have an issue with smelly scalp? So if your problem is, really oily scalp with smelling and some little pimply, like painful bumps that appear, you need a salicylic acid containing shampoo. So try something like a Sally Blue shampoo. If your problem is flaking and itching, a ketoconazole shampoo. So you can use something like a Scalpi or an Arcolane shampoo. These are very good. Now, please keep in mind that dandruff cannot be cured. The shampoos keep your scalp clear. So you need to use shampoos 3 times a week on a long-term basis. And if you have a dandruff issue, do not use hair oils. Hair oil will actually end up making your dandruff worse. If the repeated shampooing is making your hair dry, you can use any good conditioner. Okay, and now let's see. Mr. Gurudatta Paul says that Pune nowadays the weather is very hot and dry. Please suggest how to tackle skin dryness and darkness. So I think a good amount of this I've already covered. One is a good sunscreen. And like I said, if you're also having a problem with tanning and darkness, you can use sunscreens that have skin lightening agent in it. You can use something like a UV Care Light SPF 30. That's a good sunscreen that also helps in fading off the tan. Now, Santu Santosh asks that I'm applying hair dye. Due to this, my face is becoming very tanned. Can you please suggest me a good treatment? First and foremost, you'll have to stop using the hair dye that you're using. Now, a lot of people ask that, okay, I'm using a Garnier or a L'Oreal, and what else can I use? The thing to remember here is almost every hair dye, including the ammonia-free hair dyes, including the black henna, they contain the same PPD chemical which is leading to your dye, to your tan. So either you have to switch to a vegetable hair dye. There's something called vegetal hair dyes. You can speak to your salon or your pharmacist to get some options. That's a good option for you. The only problem with that is you need multiple applications to get the full color, and it washes off very quickly. So you need to color more frequently. Another option would be something called Optima hair color. Optima hair color is hard to get in your regular pharmacies. Try online pharmacies or try getting it from the pharmacy of a doctor. This is like a permanent hair color. It's very easy to apply. The color comes on within 30 minutes, doesn't wash off. You only need to do a root touch up, and it is PPD free. So that would be a good option for someone like you who's having pigmentation issues because of the dye that they're using. Now, Mr. Ganesh Kumara asks for a shampoo for hair fall issues. Actually, sir, shampoos don't make hair fall better or worse. So there are shampoos that contain caffeine in it that even dermatologists prescribe. But on its own, a shampoo will not control your hair fall. Caffeine-based shampoos are just supplementary to the treatment that they give. What they do is they improve the circulation of your scalp and they open up the pores of your scalp so that the medication that the doctor prescribes will penetrate better. A good example would be the Sebamed anti-hair loss caffeine shampoo, but you'll have to use the shampoo along with the doctor's prescription to get full results. Now, Mr. Srinivasulu says that he has black spots on the face, how to overcome them. Okay, again, Mr. Srinivasulu, good morning. So keep in mind that pigmentation is a very broad term. So black spots meaning from a dermatologist point of view that 20 or 30 different types of pigmentation diagnosis which is there. So ideally you need to meet a dermatologist and get a diagnosis exactly what kind of black spot you have. So for this kind of an online consultation, what I would say is start with the sunscreen. If you have pigmentation, you need a good sunscreen. You can use the Sebamed SPF 30 and you'll have to use it for the rest of your life. There are skin lightening creams. A mild skin lightening cream, which I would be confidently able to prescribe without examining your skin, could be something with kojic acid and vitamin C. You can use something called a Kojivit plus cream. You can use it to the dark spots at night. Pigmentation generally takes about 1 or 2 months for the pigmentation to fade off. Between the sunscreen and the Kojivit plus cream, after a couple of months, if there's still some pigmentation, you'll definitely have to meet a dermatologist in person. Now, Mr. Rajat Verma is asking for the best cleanser for combination or acne-prone skin. For combination skin, something that will help in controlling your acne without drying out your face too much, I think you should stay away from the salicylic acid face washes or glycolic acid face washes. You can use an antibacterial face wash like the Sebamed Clear Face Foaming Cleanser. Very good. Foaming face wash cleans out your pores, keeps acne under control, and quite gentle on the skin. It's pH balanced. Now, Mr. Johnny says that I'm having under eye dark circles. I've even met a doctor. He had given some creams and sunscreen and tablets also since the last 3 months, but it's not getting better. So, Mr. Johnny, I'm assuming you met a proper dermatologist and you have been using the under eye creams and some tablets, I'm guessing supplements. If it's not better, there are 2-3 things that you can do. Either you can go for under eye chemical peels. So they're mild peels which we do to the under eye area once a month for about 5 or 6 times. There are under eye patches as well. That is, a patch is not as effective as a peel. But if you have an event or you have an important meeting, you want a quick boost, even if it's temporary, these little under eye patches will help. So it's something that you can check in online pharmacies, or you can just ask your dermatologist only to prescribe a patch or vitamin C eye patch. If you also have hollows under your eyes, that is, the under eye area itself is hollowed out, there will always be a shadow effect no matter what kind of a cream or peel is done, which means in certain lighting it looks like you almost have no under eye dark circles, and in some other lighting it looks really bad. So for this, there's no shortcut or a quick fix. You need to inject hyaluronic acid fillers underneath your eye to fill out those hollows. So it's an expensive treatment. It has to be done by someone who has the experience to do it. And the results last for about a year, and then you have to repeat the treatment again. If you're looking for something where the results last longer, you can also meet a plastic surgeon about getting fat injected underneath your eyes. The fat usually the results will last for about 3 years, and then you'll have to get it done again. So given what you already tried, I think the next things you should consider is a peel, an under eye patch, or meet a plastic surgeon about under eye fillers and fat injections to plump out your eyes. Now I'm speaking to Ashwini Bhupati, who says, I'm a new mom having a 5-month-old baby suffering from a lot of hair fall. So what can I do? So hi Ashwini, the good news is almost every new mother is suffering from this. Pregnancy is a very good time for hair. Your hair will be really good and shiny. Post-delivery, from the 3rd or 4th month, almost everyone will experience hair fall. And this hair fall will normalize on its own by the time your child is 1 year old. But if you're having excessive fall, you already had thin hair, you're worried it'll get too much more thinner, there are a few ththings you can do. So one is biotin containing supplements. I'm assuming you're breastfeeding. Biotin supplements is safe even in breastfeeding women. There are anti-hair fall solutions you can apply to your hair scalp. They usually contain something called Capexil. So you can use something like a Bontress hair revitalizing serum, spray it onto your scalp every night for the next 5 to 6 months. Please take care of your nutrition as well. So you're breastfeeding, your body needs a lot of nutrition. This is not the time to be dieting or trying to lose weight. And sleep, lack of sleep is another factor in young mothers. Your baby is 5 months old, maybe in another 2 or 3 months, hopefully your baby will be sleeping through the night. Once you start sleeping better, your hair will also start recovering. Now, I'm speaking to Ankit, who says, my skin is getting very oily. Which product is best for me? So, hi Ankit, you need 3 things. Like I said, the very basics is face wash, sunscreen, and moisturizer. So that is for any skin type. These 3 basics should be followed. So if your skin is really oily, I would suggest a salicylic acid containing face wash. So you can use something like a Saslic DS. It comes in 1% and 2%. Start with a 1% face wash, and after a month, if you still feel your skin is still on the oily side, you can upgrade to the 2% face wash. You need a matte finish sunscreen. You can use something like a Acne UV SPF 30 sunscreen. That's a matte finish sunscreen meant for people with oily skin. It is just a myth that if you have oily skin, I don't need a moisturizer. Actually, what happens is without a moisturizer, your oil glands will produce even more oil to compensate for it. So you can use an oil control moisturizer. There are a couple of options. You can either get from a pharmacy something called an Excella oil control moisturizer, or an Aha Glow oil control or acne control moisturizing gel. So wash your face only 2 or 3 times a day. Overwashing will actually end up making your skin even more oily. Your skin gets too dry and tight in the first half an hour, and 1 hour later it's even more oily. So you wash your face 2, maximum 3 times a day with a salicylic acid face wash. Use an oil control moisturizer at night and an anti-acne sunscreen in the daytime. So now I'm speaking to Mahesha. He asks, I'm Mahesh, what SPF range for babies? So I was just speaking about this, Mahesh, like half hour ago. Now, for a baby less than 2 years of age, don't use a sunscreen at all. They shouldn't be out too much in the sun. They should be protected. If you need to take your baby out, make sure they're wearing a wide hat. Make sure that the body is covered with full covered clothing, because any sunscreen that you use under the age of 2, their skin is very thin. It gets absorbed into the skin and it may start causing some complications. From the age of 2 to 12, you can start using sunscreen. The Sebamed SPF 30 sunscreen is it's safe even in children. There are pediatric sunscreens. You can use the Suncross Soft. There's a La Shield Physico sunscreen. There's a Sunheal Pure sunscreen. These are physical sunscreens, just plain zinc oxide paste, no chemicals in it, safe for children. Now who else? Hi Samriddhi. So Samriddhi Sawant says that I have dark spots on my face due to acne scars. Which cream should I use for even skin tone? I think you should use a combination of vitamin C in the morning and a retinaldehyde at night. If you have acne, I'm guessing your skin is little on the oily side. So vitamin C, you get a lot of vitamin C containing serums. You can try something like a VC15 serum in the daytime, followed by a sunscreen. So if you have dark spots, you definitely need to use a sunscreen. And at night time, something that has retinaldehyde and vitamin C, there's something called a U-Guard cream. It's called an age defense cream, but it's not just for anti-aging. It works very well for people with acne-prone skin, spots and scars. It does make the skin a little dry, so you may have to mix it a little bit with your moisturizer and use it every night, and give it about 6 weeks to start seeing the results. So now Avkal Yadav, so he says, my skin is very sensitive, doctor, please suggest a good sunscreen for me. So again, a defined sensitivity could be that when you use a sunscreen, your skin breaks out in rashes, or it causes eye watering and sensitivity, or maybe you're trying to say that it causes acne. So if your problem is that it makes your skin darker, sunscreens end up making your skin darker, use the Sebamed SPF 30. That will not do it. If the problem is sunscreen starts causing eye watering, it starts causing itching and irritation on the face, use a physical sunscreen or a pediatric sunscreen. And if acne is your problem, if you use a sunscreen and start getting pimples, you can use an Acne UV SPF 50 sunscreen. That's good for that kind of a skin. Now, Mahesh P, he says, Doctor, how can I overcome scars? It's really small scars, and please suggest any cream or gel. Now, again, Mahesh, scars, there are two different types. Either they're little dark spots left by old acne, or they're little holes and pits and craters forms inside your skin. If it is a pits and holes in your skin, unfortunately, creams and gels won't work for that. That's a permanent scar on your skin. You will have to consider laser treatments. That's the only way to help with those kind of scars. So meet a good dermatologist who has good quality US FDA approved lasers and who has at least 6 or 7 years of experience working with these lasers, and start with laser treatment. Creams and gels may not help at all if you have holes and pits and craters in your skin. Now, Mahalakshmi Rajan is asking for a Sebamed face cream, which is good for a 4-month-old baby. If it's an infant, 4 months old, meaning just an infant, I think the Sebamed Extra Soft Baby Cream, that's the one you can use. So you can use it on the face and the body. It doesn't cause any irritation or rashes. In fact, we even prescribe it for kids who have eczema issues. So even children with very sensitive skin can use it. It is paraben free, so your child will not tan with that kind of a sunscreen. Ganesh Kumara asking for the best anti-dandruff shampoo. I think we have covered this already. No such thing as a best. Something to start off would be, I think, ketoconazole shampoos. Go speak to your chemist about giving you a good ketoconazole shampoo. That is something that is good to start off with 3 times a week on a long-term basis. Now, Mr. Sachin Chaudhary says that his daughter is suffering from rashes in the diaper area and some rashes on her body. So to prescribe a good multi-purpose used rash cream. So Mr. Sachin, rashes in the diaper area is caused from different factors compared to rashes on the body. So I don't think one cream can help for both the diaper area as well as the body. So the diaper area, one is give the bottom some air time. You know, don't use the diaper through the day. And the diaper rash creams have to be used even when there's no rash. They work as a preventative care as well, rather than treatment. So every time you change the diaper, just a little bit of a rash cream, you can use the Sebamed Rash Free Cream. And for the body, if she's having rashes across the body, use a Cetaphil moisturizing cream. So that's a good all-purpose cream. Again, from infants to elderly people, anybody with dry, sensitive, rash-prone cream can use it. Mr. Swami GY asks for a good cream for salivary rashes. Sebamed rash cream. You can use that. I mean, if your baby is teething, he or she will be, your baby will be drooling a lot. So use a soft cloth to wipe. Don't keep wiping the face. Don't wipe the baby's face every time you feed her. Let your baby finish the feed. There'll be a lot of mess. Once the feed is finished, use a wet cotton or a wet soft cloth to just wipe it off once after that, and use the Sebamed rash cream. That will prevent any rashes in this area. Now, let's see. Mr. Poreddy Divakar Reddy is asking for a good daily shampoo. Okay, so hi. If you have oily scalp, or you sweat a lot, or you're out and about in the dust and the pollution, if you want to wash your hair almost on a daily basis, the key here is to use a good pH balanced, sulfate free, SLS free, silicone free shampoo. So for daily use, you can use the Sebamed Everyday Shampoo. That's very good, very mild, doesn't dry out your scalp, doesn't cause any itching or irritation. Daily washing will also keep dandruff issues under control. It will also keep smell, odor issues under control. So you can start with the Sebamed Everyday Shampoo. Now, this is a bit of a repeat of a previous question, but Mr. Nikunj Tyagi is asking for a good shampoo for hair fall. So I'll repeat what I said before. Mr. Nikunj, shampoo cannot control hair fall. It won't make the hair fall better or worse. If you've seen ads in the TV talking about 14-day challenge that use the shampoo for 2 weeks and it will control the hair fall, that's all a hoax. Basically, we prescribe shampoos that contain caffeine in it. So for hair fall, and on its own, it may not do much. You will still need to meet a dermatologist and do that treatment as well. But the caffeine shampoos have a good supportive role. Basically, they improve the circulation, blood circulation in your scalp, which is good for hair fall issues. Also opens up the pores of your scalp, so the medications that you're using from the doctor will penetrate better if you're using a caffeine-based shampoo. So now let's see if there's any queries I've missed. Apologize for that, but I'll try and cover everything. Let's see, anti-dandruff shampoo, sensitive. I think I did miss one query from, yeah, hold on. Yeah, so Mr. Ansari Amar had said that, thanks, ma'am, I'm using a Sebamed SPF 30, and please suggest a chemical peel that can be done for uneven skin tone. Actually, a chemical peel is not something that you can do from home. This is something that you need to go meet a dermatologist and get it done by them. So if you have sensitive skin, you can do a lactic acid or a kojic acid or arbutin containing chemical peel. If your skin is not very sensitive, glycolic acid peels will give you better results. If you're asking for a home remedy, I'll give you some suggestions, but keep in mind that home remedy will not work as well as a doctor's treatment. What you could do is, lemon is probably too irritant. It ends up irritating a lot of people and it's not entirely safe. You can use acidic ingredients like tamarind water. So dilute tamarind in the water, little diluted tamarind, you can apply it to your skin. You can leave it on for about 30 minutes and wash it off. This is, don't do it every day. That's a bit too much. You can do it maybe once in every 3 days, and do it at night time. It has to be washed off. Next morning, you should not have any residue of it when you go out in the sun. Another good thing you can do from home is tomato and pineapple. Crush them together, take the juice, not the pulp, apply the juice to your face. You'll feel a little tingling and irritation, that's fine. Leave it on for about 15 minutes. If your skin is sensitive or if you're still feeling the tingling, if the tingling sensation goes off in about 5-10 minutes, you can leave it for half an hour as well and wash off your face and moisturize well. So that is something you can do as a home-based remedy, not as effective as a doctor's office chemical peel, but that's also something that will help you for now until you can meet a dermatologist. Okay, so I think we have answered almost all the queries. I think there's one more. So, ma'am, can we reduce the depth of wrinkles or stop the formation of wrinkles and to suggest a good anti-aging cream which can slow my aging? So, Mr. Sachin, anti-aging creams, ideally you should start using them from your early 30s. Since I don't know your age here, deep wrinkles may not go with a cream. Let's be very realistic here. So, deep wrinkles, you'll actually have to go meet a dermatologist and try laser treatments or Botox and fillers. So, Botox and fillers, they work instantaneously. You see the results in days, literally in days. They're guaranteed to work, and the results will last for about a few months. Then you need to do it again. But I'm assuming if you're still relatively young and you don't have a lot of deep wrinkles and you're looking for something fine lines and wrinkles or as a preventative thing, you can use the Sebamed Q10 Age Defense Cream. So it's a coenzyme Q cream, very mild, fragrance free, acts as a good moisturizer as well. Start using it from your early 30s itself, and you'll start seeing that over the ages, the wrinkles will not come. So it can't stop you from aging altogether, but we can slow down the process. Sebamed also has a new Pro Eye cream. So that is a probiotic based cream that also they've done a lot of studies on it. They have the results to prove it, that it does help with fine lines and wrinkles. It hydrates and plumps out your skin, so you don't have the dry, wrinkly look with that anymore. So, okay, so I think, is there any more questions? Yeah, Mr. Swami is asking for the best product that is best for rashes. Mr. Swami, rashes will probably need a medical treatment, and medical treatment, I really wouldn't recommend a steroid containing cream in this kind of forum. You need to meet a dermatologist, and these creams do have side effects. So you don't self-medicate with them, meet a dermatologist, understand, get the rash examined. But if you're looking for something to give you some relief for now, you can use something like an oatmeal containing cream. So oatmeal is a good cream for people with dry skin, sensitive skin. It can help in clearing up a rash. It can help in even soothing the itching from a rash. It has anti-itch properties as well. So there are oatmeal containing soaps like an aqua oat soap. There are oatmeal containing creams like the Aveeno creams. All of the Aveeno moisturizers have oatmeal in it. They're meant for dry, sensitive, rash-prone skin. The less expensive option would be the Wokart's aqua oat cream. Or a Nourish oat cream. So these are good. Oatmeal containing creams will probably work well for you. And after using an oatmeal soap and an oatmeal cream, if you have done that for 3 or 4 weeks and there's still some rashes left, I suggest you meet a dermatologist. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you everyone for posting so many queries. I think this comes to the end of the session, and I wish you all have a good day today. Thank you for watching. Bye.